We are looking at temperatures dropping into the single digits for some of you for tonight. I'll let you know who could see the coldest numbers.
And voting over the amendments to a bill redrawing Indiana's congressional map, which failed in the House today, and where this now goes from here.
Doing significant harm to public education in our state.
School funding in crisis. The staffing cuts that schools all across the state are facing right now after lawmakers passed those changes to the property taxes. Live from Indy, you're watching 13 News at 5.
And we begin at 5 with a live look over downtown Indy.
The sun finally peeking out today. We saw the sun, we saw some blue skies. The cold weather remains, however. In fact, it's going to get even colder tonight, and those cold temperatures could lead to some school delays, maybe even cancellations come Friday.
That's why we're in the Weather Center with Rob, who is in for Angela tonight, and we have a look at these low temperatures, how low they're going to drop. I would have thought the sun would have melted more snow.
Yeah, it just didn't really have much of an impact for today. Unfortunately, those clear skies are going to allow the temperatures to drop even more for tonight. Could even see some single digits farther to the north. That's where the snowpack is. So let's get right into it. We'll show you who is expecting to see those coldest temperatures. I'm going to show you that number in just a moment. Let me start with where we are, because in order to know where we're headed, we have to know where the temperatures are right now. Teens in a few locations, 20s for most of you, but with clear skies, now that the sun is setting, and we do expect clear skies to continue, the temperatures are going to be able to drop. We've got the perfect conditions. Clear skies, lots of snowpack on the ground, and the winds are letting up a bit. Now, there's a good bit of snow cover on the ground. This number that you see is how much snow we've seen so far this season, but there's still 3 or 4 inches of snow on the ground depending on where you are, but the farther north you go, that number goes up significantly. So these areas with this significant snowpack are where we are expecting those temperatures to drop, and drop in a big way, so that by morning we could see some temperatures close to zero. This particular model even has it going below zero for a few spots. Meanwhile, in Indy, I think we'll make it down to around 10 degrees for our overnight low. I'll put ones here for Lafayette and for Kokomo, but there are going to be some isolated spots that get much colder than that. The record for tonight is 8. I'll talk a little bit more. If there are any more cold nights like this in the forecast, I'll have it for you coming up.
All right, thank you so much, Rob. And we want to give you a look at traffic. Right now, this is what's happening at I-465 near Washington on the west side. There has been a truck fire. It's been tying up traffic. We've heard that 3 trucks have collided. This is all happening near the airport.
And because of that, all of the lanes are closed in the northbound direction of travel. You can see first responders are still very active there on the scene, multiple units. So let's give you a look at the fire shortly after it started. This dates back to 2:30 this afternoon, all the result of a crash with 3 semi-trucks.
And one was carrying wooden pallets and the other had alcohol. We're told first responders checked out 2 people on the scene, but said they should be okay. And we're following more breaking news tonight at 5.
In just the last hour from Hamilton County, the prosecutor officially filed charges against a man accused of a deadly bar shooting. McLean Mert now faces charges of murder and armed robbery for the incident that happened early this week at the Britain Tavern.
It happened earlier this week around 3 o'clock Monday morning. So we just got court documents in the last hour, and the documents say the shooting stemmed from a fight over a vape. Mert told police he thought the victim, Justin Burton, stole his friend's vape. And when he went to get it back, he said things got physical. And that's when police say Mert admitted to shooting Burton.
Police also say that Mert stayed at the scene, and that's where police took him into custody early on Monday. Now he's expected in court tomorrow afternoon.
In just the last hour and 15 minutes, lawmakers in the Indiana House wrapped up their votes on amendments to a bill which would redraw the state's congressional map.
Not one amendment passed. Our State House reporter Emily Longnecker joins us after spending the day at the Indiana State House today, listening as those votes came in.
She joins us live with a look at what was said. Emily?
Yeah, Ann and Felicia, the proposed amendments, the changes were all offered by Democrats. And as you said, every single one of them got voted down. So what that means is the redistricting bill that the House votes on tomorrow is the original bill. There are no changes to it, despite 2 hours of Democrats trying to get some of those changes in there. Some of those proposed amendments included putting the proposed map on the ballot to let voters decide if it should be used. Indiana doesn't put public questions on its ballots. Another amendment said if the proposed map passed, it couldn't be used until Hoosiers' electricity costs were among the 25% lowest in the nation, and wait lists for child care funding to help families in need had been eliminated. The largest amendment of all proposed taking the map drawing process out of lawmakers' hands altogether and instead letting Indiana's nonpartisan Legislative Services Agency draw it.
It's time to return back to some semblance of order. And let's just stop all this craziness that's sweeping the nation. The eyes are upon us for the moment. We have an opportunity to make a real statement. We have an opportunity to say we are going to lead the way to a better way.
The redistricting bill's author, Republican State Representative Ben Smalt, said the amendment would be a great place for Congress to start to change the current system across the board.
I would really like to see Congress make a law, a process that applies to all 50 states equally to create a level playing field. So with that, I would encourage the defeat of the amendment.
For discussion on the motion, Representative Hamilton speaking.
And that's how it went all afternoon for over 2 hours. Democrats offering amendments only to see them rejected. So the original bill and map that we saw earlier this week is the map and proposed bill that lawmakers will vote on tomorrow in the House. House Speaker Todd Huston has said all along that the votes are there to get this out of the House. The real question then will really be what happens next week in the Senate. Ann, Felicia?
All right, Emily Longnecker reporting live for us tonight at the Indiana State House. We want to make sure that you're always updated on the debate and all the action that's happening at the State House when it comes to this bill. And we've put everything that we've gathered for you on our website. You can check it out at WTHR.com/redistricting.
Tonight, Indiana school leaders say they're facing an unprecedented financial strain because of changes made by lawmakers this year.
That's according to a new survey released by the Indiana Coalition for Public Education. Jenna Webster breaks it down.
A new survey shows a crisis unfolding for public school funding in Indiana. Of the half of schools around the state who responded, 95% say this year's property tax cuts are negatively impacting them. 87% say the level of funding allocated by the Indiana General Assembly is hurting their schools.
I don't think most people, us included, understood how deep it's going to be and how immediate it's going to be.
Jim May is with the Indiana Coalition for Public Education, the nonpartisan nonprofit behind the survey. Superintendents from across the state say they're losing anywhere from hundreds of thousands of dollars to millions. Over 65% have either reduced or committed to reducing support staff, over 55% reducing teaching staff, and more than 40% are cutting spending on facility maintenance.
And this is at a time where we've seen enormous increases in cost to schools. We've seen the cost of insurance go up, both for teachers and for the buildings. We've seen increases in utility cost.
The numbers tell one story. Written comments from superintendents show a true frustration. A rural superintendent, "I'm not sure this district will survive as a standalone entity. So much of this is completely out of my control. It's disheartening after 30 plus years of service to the education profession." A suburban superintendent says finances keep them up at night. Another says our state lawmakers have made any long-range financial planning impossible in Indiana with constantly changing regulations. And an urban school superintendent, education funding should be predictable, equitable, and responsive to student need, not dependent on local property tax wealth or referendum fatigue. Voters should not have to rescue their schools every few years just to maintain basic services like transportation, custodial, and building maintenance.
I don't think a lot of people understood the scope of what this was going to do for the schools compared to the scope of what they're going to experience on their property taxes.
School districts say they need funding increases of 2 to 20% to meet their needs. Jenna Webster, 13 News.
And we will have those full survey results, including what superintendents say are their greatest threats, online at WTHR.com. Also today, we are getting a first look at the plea agreement for an Indianapolis mom who's accused of taking part in the death of her little baby girl. Harmony Jones died in January of 23. Her mother, Jada Stiles, was charged with felony aggravated battery. Stiles now is scheduled to be in court tomorrow to change that plea. An agreement that was posted just today shows that the state will reduce the charge down to felony neglect resulting in serious bodily injury. The agreement also states that any prison time will be capped at 8 years. Our 13 Investigates reporter Sierra Putman is following this story for a year now, and she'll continue our coverage when she goes to the courtroom tomorrow.
Tonight, an Uber driver who pleaded guilty to killing an Indianapolis mother now knows the time he will spend behind bars for the crime. This morning, a Marion County judge sentenced Francisco Valadez to 45 years in prison for the murder of Shanti Dixon. Valadez admitted to killing her after she ordered an Uber in September of 2024. Someone found her body in the woods a day after her family reported her missing. As part of the plea agreement, the prosecutor dropped several other charges, including rape, murder, and abandonment of a corpse.
Coming up, an arrest made for the pipe bombs planted the day before the January 6th riots.
The person now under arrest after a 5-year search. It's ahead at 5:30.
And the snow cover that we've got on the ground is leading to cold temperatures for tonight, but we do have more snow chances in the 7-day forecast. I'll let you know when. Coming up.
And giving back to the Indianapolis community.
The renovation at an IPS school, all courtesy of the Big Ten.
Plus, Fishers police stop a guy for speeding, but the story is what they did with what they found in his car. I'm Samantha Johnson. That's still ahead.